First at 5, we are covering two breaking news stories right now. On the left side of your screen is the scene of a deadly pedestrian crash in St. Augustine. We have just learned that the man struck and killed was running from ICE agents.
And on the right side of your screen, body camera video just released by the Jacksonville sheriff's officer. An officer accused of hitting a man while in police custody. That officer now arrested. We have live reports on both of those stories today at 5. But first, we start with that deadly incident in St. Augustine, a man hit and killed while fleeing from ICE. That's according to Florida Highway Patrol. Thank you for joining us. I'm Anthony Austin.
I'm Heather Crawford. So we are now learning ICE agents responded to a Wawa on State Road 16 in St. Augustine early this morning. According to Florida Highway Patrol, 4 people in the car ran from the area when encountering ICE and Homeland Security investigators.
And while running away, the 28-year-old man crossed the road and was hit. He died on the scene. We've discovered this is the 3rd death involving ICE in a week across the country.
Our Christina Burgess is following this story. She joins us now live. So Christina, what have you learned?
Well, Heather and Anthony, the scene is now cleared from this morning, but in the last couple of hours, we did learn from Florida Highway Patrol that that 28-year-old man was fleeing across this busy state road that's to my left when he was hit by that semi-truck. The Florida Highway Patrol also telling us that ICE and Homeland Security investigation agents responded to this Wawa on State Road 16 right before 7 this morning. Troopers say that 4 people inside a vehicle ran from the area after encountering the agents. Investigators say that one of those individuals, a 28-year-old man, ran across State Road 16 and into the path of an oncoming semi-truck. The driver of that truck did stop immediately and try to render aid, but the man died at the scene. The Florida Highway Patrol is investigating the fatal crash, and while any questions about the federal encounter are being referred to ICE and Homeland Security at this time. And First Coast News, we did reach out to ICE earlier this afternoon, and they did tell us that they are expecting to release a statement from the Department of Homeland Security shortly, and when we receive that statement and more information, we will bring it to you here at First Coast News. Reporting live in St. Augustine, Christina Burgess, First Coast News on your side.
ICE murdered a human being! Say it loud, say it clear!
So this all comes after 2 deadly ICE-involved shootings, one in Maine, another in Texas. The left side of your screen is from the scene in Maine. A man was shot and killed during what they say was an attempted traffic stop. That man, Joan Sebastian Guerrero, was not the target of an arrest warrant. And in Texas, another man was shot and killed. Lorenzo Salgado Arujo was a Mexican national who was in the U.S. illegally.
And new tonight, the Trump administration is pausing most vehicle stops by ICE following those 2 deadly shootings involving agents. The directive applying to ICE's Enforcement and Removal Operations Division. They're in charge of handling arrests and deportations of undocumented immigrants. Agents are being told to avoid initiating traffic stops and instead work with partner agencies when serving criminal warrants pertaining to people who are in cars. Also breaking tonight, a Jacksonville police officer arrested, accused of punching a handcuffed man in custody yesterday. Officer Shane Sadik arrested today, now charged with battery. This is a first-degree misdemeanor. That officer, according to JSO, is now terminated. This is the 6th arrest of a JSO employee this year. Our Biljana Garland is live outside the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office tonight with the body camera footage that was just released today. Biljana?
Heather, that body camera footage starts with the former officer telling the man he's arresting to stop scratching him. I do warn you that the video is disturbing.
Oh, wait, sir.
I'm gonna punch you. Stop scratching me.
I said
with your long-ass nails.
In this video, you can hear former officer Shane Sadik tell the man he's arresting, Kashif Griffin, that he's going to punch him. Authorities say Griffin was extremely drunk. He was being arrested for having an open alcohol container while sitting in the passenger seat and resisting an officer without violence.
I'm gonna tell you one more time. You curl your finger and reach at me again and make me bleed, I'm gonna punch you in the head. Stop.
Then you see the first punch.
Stop moving your fingers.
I'm a kidding.
Stop moving your fingers.
Then a second punch.
Stop. Move. Stop moving your finger.
Then the assisting officer taking over the arrest. JSO Sheriff TK Waters condemns Sadik's actions and says the department is on top of holding its officers accountable.
In my humble opinion, there was no reason to even think about punching him at that time. You can hold him, you can move him around, you can do what you need to do to gain control. While Sadek's conduct appalls me, I'm heartened by the knowledge that the system works and has worked properly in this situation. The witness officer took the action required by both JSO policy and common decency and morality. He immediately reported Sadek's inappropriate conduct to his chain of command.
The sheriff says that he does not plan to change any of the training that they have been doing. And with that former officer, he is now terminated. But he's been working with JSO for 3 years, and he had 2 citizen complaints this year for rudeness, and he had 1 citizen complaint last year for failing to comply with work standards, but he was exonerated on that. And that's all according to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. Live in Jacksonville, I'm Biljana Garland, First Coast News, on your side.
Biljana, thank you. And in our next half hour, our crime and safety expert will join us here in the studio to help us break down the JSO body camera video frame by frame. That's next at 5:30.
New today at 5, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says a major drug bust led to the discovery of more than 215,000 doses of fentanyl. Detectives say 49-year-old Alejandro Villasana flew from Chicago to Jacksonville to deliver more than 400 grams of fentanyl to 36-year-old Javaris Williams. Both men are now facing multiple drug charges. Investigators also seized a gun and more than $60,000 in cash.
I'm just still numb, and I just pray every day that they find him, and if they don't, at least he washes up so we can get closure.
So you just heard from a family there for another story we're following this evening. For the first time, we're hearing from the family of a Georgia man who went missing after a weekend trip to Jacksonville ended in tragedy.
29-year-old Dante Wanton disappeared on Saturday after he was caught in an undertow while swimming near Huguenot Memorial Park. 2 other swimmers were rescued, but Dante never resurfaced. Well, the Coast Guard has now suspended its search for him. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office tells us that its Marine unit is still out patrolling the area.
Our Haja Ba spoke exclusively with Dante's sister and aunt. Haja, they tell you they're still just trying to process what happened.
Yeah, they're completely devastated by this, and they hope his body is found so they can return him home to Georgia for a proper burial. Now, 29-year-old Dante Wanton from Savannah, Georgia, traveled to Jacksonville to spend the weekend with his best friends. But Saturday afternoon, everything changed. According to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, 3 adults were swimming near Huguenot Memorial Park, and they began struggling in a strong undertow. Bystanders were able to rescue 2 of the swimmers, but Dante went underwater and never resurfaced. His sister tells me she's still in shock.
I didn't want to believe it. Me and my brother have been together. We have 3 older sisters, but me and my brother have been together forever. I'm broken. I'm numb. I'm lost. I save him all the time. And this time I couldn't.
And while the Coast Guard has suspended its search tonight, JSO tells us Dante is still listed as missing, and JSO's Marine unit continues to patrol the area in hopes of finding his body. Anthony?
Haja Ba, thank you. Well, tonight, 2 more arrests made in Lake City for an armed home invasion robbery. Between August 19th to August 31st of 2025, the Lake City Police Department and Columbia County Sheriff's Office responded to a total of 3 incidents. The first happened on August 19th, then again on August 28th, and finally on August 31st. Detectives noticed similarities between these incidents, including suspects impersonating law enforcement and also demanding cash. Previously, 3 other suspects were arrested. Today, officers announcing the final 2 suspects. Dion Robinson, he was arrested on April 5th, and Donovan D. Weish was arrested on July 6th. Both are currently in the Columbia County Detention Center.
In just under an hour, Florida is scheduled to execute one of its oldest death row prisoners in history. 74-year-old Dennis Socher has been on death row since the 1980s. He was convicted of killing a young woman January 1st, 1982, after meeting her at a New Year's Eve party. According to court records, the 18-year-old Patricia Gifford was out celebrating New Year's Eve with her friend at that party when they met Socher and his brother. Socher confessed that when Gifford refused to have sex with him, he got angry, choked her until she died, and then disposed of her body. He was found guilty of first-degree murder and kidnapping in 1987. Last week, Florida Supreme Court denied his appeals.
All right, let's talk about the weather now. Scattered storms and rain possible this evening. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Lewis Turner. Lou, So I'm told that this rain will impact our southeastern Georgia county.
Got some there, and in fact, we're just starting to see some around the metro as well. So I'm going to show you a little bit of both, and we'll actually have that rain potential later on through the evening. Not quite as widespread as we've seen, but in these pockets of heavy rain. This is our camera from the south side, but what we're looking at is towards Beach Boulevard, right near Hodges and San Pablo, those roads intersecting with Beach. You kind of, for landmark's sake, there's your Top Golf and the town center area going out 295 towards Beach, and there is that heavy downpour right now. So we can get a little ground truth with our live camera. Let's go to radar. All right, so most of us, I'd say 90% of us, rain free, except for what we define as very isolated showers, some for South Georgia. But now we're starting to see just a little sea breeze pushing in from the ocean, interacting here with a quick storm, kind of causing that uplift. And exactly what I'm talking about between here, we have Beach, Hodges, and San Pablo, so very near that Mayo Clinic area, the neighborhoods along Hodges, they're getting that heaviest downpour that we saw, but it's extending a little bit of a breakout towards the Jax Beach area, but you go down 1st Street and 3rd Street just a little bit towards closer to South Jax Beach and then towards Ponte Vedra and the Marsh Landing area, getting a pretty good downpour. This all kind of drifting back towards the beach. Good news is I'm looking at radar right now. We haven't had any lightning indicated with this. So we'll continue to track a few isolated showers and pockets out there. Talk about the warm up on the way in the 7-day forecast. So stay with us.
All right, Lou, thank you. New at 5, the Jacksonville Transit Authority is looking at raising fares for the first time in 7 years. And this evening, they're hosting the first in a series of meetings to get feedback from the community. Our Channing Curtis is joining us live from the meeting that's taking place in Mayport. So Channing, if approved, this rate increase wouldn't take effect overnight.
Anthony, that's exactly right. So the JTA is actually proposing rate increases for several things, for all of their rides across the board, including bus rides, ferry rides, and even if you're trying to ride the Navy. However, if these rate changes are approved, they would not go into effect until January of next year. So one thing that they're looking at is increasing the bus fare rate. That would go from $1.75 up to $2. And they're even looking at charging $1 to ride the Navy as well. This might not sound like a lot of money to some people, but according to the JTA, these fares make up about 6% of their budget. Ahead of tonight's meeting, I was able to speak with Cheryl Riddick, the Director of Customer Service at the Transit Authority, and she says the proposal also includes potential bus route changes as well.
There are going to be route changes, I think, to 2 or 3 routes. There are going to be route eliminations because that deals with the overlap and the low ridership. There will also be frequency changes. So instead of routes coming on 15-minute intervals, it might be on a 30-minute interval.
Tonight's meeting is still going on right now. They'll be wrapping things up here in about an hour, but there are 4 additional meetings that will be taking place throughout the month of July. If you'd like to attend, this information is on your screen right now, and it's available also on our website at firstcoastnews.com. Now, again, all of these proposed changes are just that. They're just part of a proposal. The JTA board actually has to approve all of these changes first. Reporting in Mayport, Channing Curtis, First Coast News, on your side.
Thank you, Channing. And for a complete list of those public meetings and possible rate changes, you can text JTA to the phone number you see there, 904-633-2402, and we'll send all that information straight to your phone.
Well, with the first day of school just weeks away, a lot of families are preparing for new teachers, new classrooms, new routines. But for some students and families, they're also preparing for the possibility of being bullied. One Jacksonville man says the effects really can last a lifetime. Jacksonville native Lee Kaplan knows firsthand how painful bullying can be. Years after leaving school, he found a childhood journal while he was cleaning out his parents' home. And reading it brought back memories that he thought were long behind him. Instead of keeping those memories to himself, he actually turned them into a one-man play. It's called Bully. And now he's sharing his story with students across the country, hoping to help kids who may be struggling right now in silence.
Decided that I wanted to write something to employ what I'd learned theatrically, that maybe I could do something on the stage and present these anti-bullying messages in a different way, in a way that could be impactful because it was coming from a place organically from me.
Kaplan hopes that his story reminds students that they never have to face bullying alone, and he encourages classmates to speak up when they see someone in need. Tonight, hear more of his powerful journey and how he's turning childhood pain into a message of hope for the next generation. Well, a 4th of July stunt caught on camera in St. Johns County. You're going to see why one person's fireworks show landed them in handcuffs.